back. Most of us have interacted with these functions. If you have ever written anything in R or car, you should have interacted with this. So just to emphasize, maybe picking out one or two ways on how to improve. So this topic is about manipulate data using code in Dynamics 365 Business Central. The introduction is that in the module we learn to retrieve and read data from the tables in Business Central and how to modify that data by using R code. Additionally, you discover how to add new records in the database and how to delete records from the database. When retrieving data, you're likely to want to filter it so that you don't have to retrieve all data, but rather a filtered subset similar to SQL. You can have that data sorted for you. To be able to work with data, you need to learn about data functions, starting with the processes of retrieving data from R statements. So here we have these standard functions that we usually use in our R development. We have the get, we have the find, we have the find first, find the last. Then we have the next, and we have is empty. So the get, this one is used to retrieve data using the primary key. If you put a field that is not a primary key in this get, you want to retrieve that data. And if you shall read through this, what they are written, if you read through, they will tell you that it's better to use the get in an if statement. Instead of saying customer.get and you just that is a sentence, you are supposed to say if customer.get, you write what you want, your logic, then else you put an error message that should appear if you don't get that customer. So if you realize that some of those errors they tell you customer doesn't exist, like in the code they just put customer.get, and if that customer is not found, just throws a runtime error. So to avoid that, we usually put it in an if statement, and then you control the error message should be shown to them. Then we have this find first, find last. The find first, we have find first, find last, find set. For find first, is used to get the first record in that table based on the primary key. Then find the last, used to get the last record in that table based on the primary key. Then also we have this find. Just scroll down or shall come back. You have this find minus and also find plus. If you have interacted with CAR, you should have seen these functions more common than how they are in R. They are more common in CAR than in R. So these were usually used previously, but now always find first and find last. So this one, the find first, it sends the way the query is sent to SQL, it sends the top one, like the top one. That's how the query is sent to the SQL. So it only retrieves one record from the database, which makes the performance more better. But this find the minus and find plus, these ones, they're also used for find minus, is used for find first. Find minus, you can read it as find the last, but for them, they don't retrieve one record. They retrieve maybe like 10 records for find first, and then they're able to use the first record. So that's why these ones make the performance bit bad compared to the find first and find last. If I can read, then if I read this, so there's the descriptions. We have the next. This one is used to repeat through, is used along with the repeat function. Repeat until next is equal to. You mostly use it when you are retrieving records and you say until maybe customer.next is equal to 0, but you can also use a number for it to repeat 3 times. You can, in the next, you can put 3. Say repeat until next is equal to 3 is equal to certain number. You can also use that, but currently you are using it mostly when you are retrieving records. You have set your filters. When all records are being retrieved based on your filters, That's when we stop running that repeat until. Then it's empty. After setting your filters, if you want, you can check if the filters you have set in that range, there is any record you can use. If you just want to say if is there a record or not, instead of retrieving them, you just use is empty. So to read through what the documentation was saying, they say the get function retrieves a record based on the primary key. If your table has a primary key of one field, you need to provide one parameter to the get function. If the primary key is combined key of multiple fields, that they are talking about purchase headers, sales headers. You know, those ones have two fields. They have the document number and the document type. So if it is like that, you have to pass in those two fields in the get function. You need to provide them in order of the primary key definition. The best way to use the get function is within an if statement. If the record isn't found, you are not using if statement, check the result of the get statement, you generate an error in the code. So yeah, they just give you a sample of how that get function is supposed to be used. We are saying if customer.get, then you put in the primary key of that customer you want to get, then you add in your logic else, you throw your own error that you want to. Then you have this one, the find function has two derived function. You have the find first and find last. In some standard code, the find minus and find plus functions continue to be used. These functions were used in older versions of Business Central. So if you are writing code, you should avoid using the find minus and find plus. You better use find first and find last. The result of find minus and find first is the same, but how the result is requested differs. With find first function, Business Central asks SQL Server to retrieve the first record in the database by using a select top one SQL query. Then the find minus function requests a select from SQL Server and retrieves the first record in Business Central. The process leads to bad performance. Using the find first and find last functions instead, use the find first and find last function instead to have better performance. So here they still show you the same. Customer.find, it will select everything from the customer, but when it is going to display, it will display the first record. Then this one, this is the find plus, this is select the last record, but this one, you know, again, we are going to start, you have to start using the find first and find last. You see this one for find first, how the query is sent to the database is select top one from customer. Then for the find last is select top one from customer, order by number in descending order. To retrieve all records or a filtered set of records, you use the find set. That is why I use the find set function. If you have already set your filters and there are multiple records that have to be retrieved, you use the find set. They are saying customer.find set. The way that one is sent to the SQL is select everything from customer, or best if you have already set your filters to select everything in those filters from the database. Then the next function we have the next statement. The next statement is used to get the next record in the record cell. Typically, you would use the next statement in a repeat until statement. The next statement optional has one parameter that defines how many steps you want to go forward. If you give the parameter value of C, it always gets every third record in the set. So this is just a sample of how the next statement is used with a repeat statement, repeat until statement. They're saying customer.find set, repeat, then you put in your logic until customer.next is equal to, so repeat until all the customers are being looped through as you are passing in this logic that you put in this repeat after repeat. Also to be maybe give another, most of us say repeat Then we put a begin and end. I think that one is being absolute. If you say repeat, you don't have to put begin and end. You just leave. You put your logic in that repeat, then you put until, then dot next. Is empty function. If you want to check if a record exists, but you don't want to retrieve the record, then it's better to use the is empty function also for better performance. Because you're not retrieving, you're just checking is it there? Yes, if it is there, maybe you want to see the number of records that if it is already exists before you insert, or if you have to insert or modify it. Then you have AR database methods and performance on SQL Server. And they're just giving you more details of how all those methods affect the database. I'll just skip this and just go to this part. If you want, you can already go and read this part. I'll just say on record.get is optimized for getting a single record based on primary key values. Then record.find is optimized for getting a single record based on the primary keys in the record and any filter or range that has been set. You have the record.find minus and record.find plus optimized for reading primarily from a single table when the application may not read all records. The find minus is implemented by issuing a self-tuning top X score. So for this, if you remember, for find first, it sends for top 1. This one they are saying top X. So it is up to the SQL database on how many it wants to retrieve, 10, 100, maybe based on the where you are calling it from. So that's why they're also saying that this one, the find minus, has performance issues. But the other one, the find first will send the query will be like select top 1 from customer to just go to looking for one field, where X can change over time based on statistics of the number of rows read. The following are examples of scenarios in which you would use the find minus function to achieve optimal performance. Before you post a journal batch, you must check all journal lines for validity and verify that all lines balance. After the first line, when an error is found, you don't have to retrieve the rest of the rows. They're just giving you maybe where you would want to use the find minus and the find plus. If you want to fulfill multiple standing orders from a receipt purchase, but you don't know how many orders are covered by the purchase, then we have the find set. This find set has 2 parameters in here. We have for update, then comma, update is optimized for reading the complete set of records in the specified filter and range. The update key parameter doesn't influence the efficiency of this method in Business Central, such as it did in older versions of the product. Find set isn't implemented by issuing a top X score. So there is this parameter. I think most of us usually ignore it. If you are retrieving to modify that record, you can always, in the brackets of find set, you can always put update, you put it true. Update for update and update key. But most of that you just say find set and we leave the brackets empty. But they're also saying in raw versions, if you would not specify, like if you want to update and you don't specify it true, you define it has performance issues compared to when you specify it. Then the next part is record.find first and record.find first are optimized for finding the single first and last record in the specified range or filter. Then you have record.next can be called at any time. However, if record.next isn't called as part of retrieving a continuous result set, then Business Central calls a separate SQL statement in order to find the next record. I am just giving you how these different methods affect the performance of Business Central on the system. Then another area that you look at is called the sort and filter data in code. Like I just in the previous example, So on sort and filter data, we shall start with this function called setCurrentKey function. Sort records use the setCurrentKey function where you can specify a field or field that you want to sort by. By default, the fields are sorted by the primary key. But there are times where you want to look at it from another field that you want to look at them. So if you want to change the sort method from using the primary key, you can always use the setCurrentKey function. You specify which field you want sort by. Then you can go ahead and write your logic in the later. So if you look at this, we have our variable customer. But now the customer, you know, the primary key of a customer is the number. So if you are retrieving them from the database, they are always sorted by the number. But if you want to change that sort field, you can say customer.setCurrentKey. Put in the field. You can even put multiple fields if you want from the city. You filter it by the district, from the districts, maybe by the constituents. Can always state all those fields in this setCurrentKey. So this one, you will find the order when you are retrieving them, the order will change. Instead of arranging them using the primary key, they will now use the city. Then another one, we have the set range and set filter. So just to give you, these ones are used to limit the number of records that you want to retrieve. The main difference that is the set range, it has a from value and a to value. That one. But also if you want to do, maybe you want to say, I want to retrieve records where the number is greater than 10,000, where you are using some calculations, so you want where it is greater than this, less than that. That one, the set range doesn't do that. You have to use the set filter. So that is like the main difference of how we can use those different, the set range and the set filter are used. For the set range, you have to put in the from value and the to value. For the set filter, you can say I want to retrieve where records where the number is greater than 1 million, which have amount is less than 2 million. So for that, that's the main difference that is between the two. But the other ones they can always be used interchangeably. Now here, in addition, sorting, you can also filter your results. By using this method, you don't need to retrieve all data from the database, which is better for performance. The two possibilities to filter database are set range and set filter. With the set range function, you can specify a start and end value for a specific field. However, you can't use the set range function to search for records where the field value is larger or smaller than a specific value. That's where the difference is. Now for that one, you want to find if it is larger than certain value, you have to use the set filter. Now like this one, they are saying customer.setRange. I'm setting the range on the number. Then I'm saying it is starting from 10,000. Then the to value is 40,000. Then find, then repeat. Yeah, this is just a sample of how you can use the set range. Then here they are saying just something to note, omitting the to value, which is the third parameter in the set range. Omitting the to value function means that you have to search all records where the field is equals the from value. Now, like in this example of customer, if I omit that third parameter, the to value of 40,000, and I only leave set range, then the field is the number, then I only put 10,000 and I clone. So it means I'm retrieving all fields where the number is 10,000. Then we are saying here, if you omit the from value as well, maybe you come here, you say set range number and you just close and you omit that from value and the to value. You reset the filter and remove the filter on the specified field. So if you just come here and you say set range, then you put the filter and close if there were any previous filters applied to that field, you are like removing it, moving all those filters and just retrieve all those. Are not applying any filter on that field. Then here they have, now they are looking at set filter. You already learned about the set range function can be used to search for values larger, cannot be used search for values larger or smaller than a specific value. However, you can use the set filter function for that purpose. The set filter function accepts a string where you can specify your filtering conditions such as greater than, less than, greater than, then this one, greater than, less than, greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. We have this one. Some of us have not used this one. In that, when you are setting your filter, you can use this star to maybe I'm retrieving customers whose names start with M. Want to retrieve those customers. So we use this star. You can say star, then you put that character they should start with. Then for it, when it is searching to search for those customers that start with the character we have specified and put them in that filter. Then this one we are using the range, the AND, the O. So they're just giving you a sample of how the set filter is used. Now like this one, they're saying customer.set filter, you're setting a filter on the number where it is greater than and not equal to. It's greater than 10,000 but not equal to 20,000. So this one you can't do this using the set range function. This one you can only do it when you're using the set filter function. So from here you can do this, or alternative you can use placeholders. You specify your values, then here you say percentage 1, and then you put that percentage 2. Then here afterward you specify those values for those placeholders. This is the one I wanted to show you. Search and filter on multiple fields, specify multiple set range and or set filter statement. In the following example, all customers with a number between 10,000 and 90,000 are retrieved, where the city fields start with a letter B. The @ sign specifies case insensitive, otherwise it is always case sensitive. And the country stock region code starts with a capital letter B. So if you look at that, most of us have not used this one of where we can filter by where it is starting with a given letter. They are saying this first one, we all know it. Customer.set range number, the from value is 10,000, the to value is 90,000. Then you are saying customer.set filter city, then you are saying at B, then star. Here they are saying where the city field start with a letter B. When I say this one at is a start with B, then this star says other characters can be no, just a minute. This at means that you are searching even if it is uppercase or lowercase. If you wanted maybe it has a B in between, you put a star before the B. But when you say at, then B, you are saying search for where it is start. Since we don't have a star at the beginning, it means it is where it is starting with B. But that B can be uppercase or can be lowercase. It is case insensitive. Then this one, we are saying customer.set filter count stock region code. Then you are saying B star. So this one is a bit different from the previous one we looked at. This one will check even if it is lowercase or uppercase, the second one. But this third statement, to only check for, to only filter to those ones which start with uppercase letter B. And this time means other characters are there. If you only put a B, it means they are looking for where country or region code is just B. But if you put a star, they mean the other characters after. So these ones we know the repeat until. You can use the filter statement with the empty statement. Check if any record is match your filters. So we have here, you can say, set your filter, salesline.set range document number, setting it to this document number of 10,000. And I say if sales number is empty, then messages, it throws this message. This is where we are used the is empty function. Don't know if we still have more time. Abo, should I continue? Because there's another meeting at 8:15.
I think we can stop here for today because of the next meeting. Shall pick it up from there tomorrow.
Maybe before we can stop, I don't know if you can look at this, check your knowledge. Most of us have worked with those statements, so it can be a quick one. Just Mago, I can answer the first one in these 2 minutes. Then I'll just let other people to answer the other questions.
Which function
call retrieves only the first record in the filter from the customer table? Mago.
The first record will be
not getting you.
Sorry, only the last record.
Yeah.
Find the last.
Irene, the second question, which function retrieves the record by its primary key values?
Get.
Irene, I'm not getting you.
The last one, get.
Ekaka, the third one, what does the validate function do when used? Imboa, the last one, what does the test field function do when used? Yeah, we all passed those ones. So that's it for today.
Thank you very much, Alan. Let's continue tomorrow. Let's endeavor to keep time, guys. Have a good day.